Hey guys, Dr. Epic here. Welcome back to the channel and the series where we rank Mass Effect's races and speculate on their Mass Effect 4 roles. We have reached the end of the Citadel races roster now, and the final Citadel race is the volus, also known as the Vol Clan, Biotic Gods, the best multiplayer class, or simply Small Chungus. So let's get to it, and thank you for clicking. The volus are another fairly unique species, adding delicious flavor to the Mass Effect universe. And despite them being quite prominent and interactable through conversation and even through gameplay in multiplayer, they still remain mysterious, since we have never actually seen a volus in all their natural glory, due to them having to wear those extremely clunky suits protecting them from their non-native atmospheres. I'm a sucker for gas-sucking aliens, dating all the way back to the Halo grunts, who looked like little monkeys with pacifiers. In the old games, that is, not the new ones. Much like the grunts from Halo, the volus aren't generally the best fighters, at least when you're not counting Yap Yap the Destroyer, as well as my multiplayer volus adept. They make up for this by offering an unrivaled competency in economic matters. Apparently these guys invented the credit system. Despite their many contributions to the Citadel Council, they still haven't gotten invited to the Cool Club as one of the council members, much to the dismay of some volus politicians. Speaking of power, the volus military is essentially non-existing, and Irune has apparently done away with the concept of state-waged wars, because volus do not find any value in war, they just like business. They're really on that planetary Sigma grind set. They simply get their Turian masters to protect them as part of their client race deal with the Turians that they have. Besides Turian aid, the volus rely mostly on air and naval force, rather than foot soldiers and landcraft. During the Reaper War, this didn't work too well for them, I'll say, and Husks swiftly started to terrorize the volus population of their homeworld. Some 3,000 volus attempted to travel to Andromeda Galaxy through the Andromeda Initiative, but some of them died when a crazy Quarian supremacist smuggled a deadly cross-species plague aboard. This also killed a lot of other races on board. RIP. But what about the role of the volus in Mass Effect 4? What will our lovable little balls of fun get up to in a galaxy reeling from galactic war and Reaper harvest? The volus, compared to, say, the Turians and Krogans, haven't impacted the galaxy nearly as much, at least not directly. Their biggest contribution to the galactic society is their role in establishing the galactic currency, and contributing to the effectiveness of galactic economy in general. Despite these achievements, the somewhat small scale of volus influence can be exemplified by them still not being even empowered on the council level with a councillor position. So if the destroy ending is canon, then I would imagine a lot of volus primarily would focus on rebuilding their own societies, perhaps in a more isolationist manner than before. I can see them helping in bringing the galactic economy back on its feet. I can further see the volus being bolder in their politics, since the power balance has presumably been shook up majorly by the Reaper harvests and destruction. By extension, I can easily imagine some volus demanding a bigger say than what they had before in exchange for them helping to bring the galactic economy back to life. Maybe we will finally see that volus counselor, who knows. I can further imagine some volus perhaps being interested in either maintaining or moving away from their client relationship with the now weakened Turians. This is the golden opportunity to make revolutionary changes for volus independence. Given that the volus nature of hating war, my guess is they will seek to regain or simply modify their Turian relationship as a client race with the Turian protectors, as the volus would still want someone else to protect them. My guess is further that if anyone, it's likely that the weakened Turians will modify the protectorate policies of the Turian hierarchy, and not the volus, who might be forced by this. I'm expecting the volus to be more important, not less, after the Reaper War. Especially so if some volus from Andromeda decide to return and bolster or aid the Milky Way volus. If the control or synthesis ending were to be canon, like I've said before, if there is to be conflict in the next game, these happy ending type scenarios need to have some terrible unforeseen consequence or development, like the Reapers being evil all along or turning evil again due to an evil Shepherd AI or a malicious faction or agent. I would then imagine the story being kind of Star Wars-y or Half-Life 2-y on a galactic level. It's hard to see the use of the volus in such a scenario. I'm sorry, they are weak soldiers in general. They rely too much on their suits and other people to do the work for them. I suppose they could perhaps aid in establishing or running some kind of underground railroad and managing resistance logistics, perhaps. Which is of course a very important thing to any war effort, but other than that I I imagine them remaining in the shadows as side characters once again. But if the refusal ending is canon, and that resulted in the complete squad wipe of the entire Milky Way races, then I would imagine the volus will have had to either learn how to freeze themselves down into the future, using some technology that I can hardly believe that they designed on their own, and technically beating the Protheans in stasis technology, as we know that the infinitely more advanced Protheans tried this to save their species at least 2 times, and essentially failed both times, so I found this heavily unlikely. Other than that, the only volus presence would have to be the Andromeda Initiative volus. These will have to work together with other stronger species and alliances in order to wipe out the hibernating Reapers or any new generation of hostile Milky Way species, or an Andromeda villain like the Ket Jardan or whatever. Non-Reaper antagonists like these could be potential villains, even if the Reapers were defeated by the next galactic cycle or another powerful force. In conclusion, I really adore the volus. They are unique, funny, and even though their speech is crazy annoying when you're trying to speedrun, it's still unique and entertaining to some degree. Their species is also a really interesting take on what a species with so vastly different biological needs than all the others would have to look like to simply survive outside their planet. Like the Drell, Elcor, and the Hanar, however, the volus do not impact the story in any noteworthy way. Their only proper character can be argued to be Barla Vaughn or Din Korlak or something. They're all really minor characters, and that is fine, don't get me wrong, but if they were to give them more screen time and impact on the story, I might have bumped them up a spot, though you can argue that they then might have overstayed their welcome if we saw even more of the volus. So to summarize, I have to commend their uniqueness and I really want to see them again, but do I want to see what's under the suit though? Well, I'm leaning towards no, but I wouldn't really care one way or the other if it was done in a proper way. All in all, I'll have to place the volus in a Rex tier. It's kind of a weak Rex tier, because their voice is really annoying at times, and their attitudes towards you and others can be really annoying as well. Like who can forget the racist volus in Mass Effect 2? What do you guys think though? Did I place the Vol clan too high or too low? What kind of shenanigans do you think the volus will get up to in the next game? Are you excited to see them, or do you think that they can stay away as much as possible? One thing that has been really hammered into my brain doing this series is the fact that no matter what ending is canon, no matter what time skip in Mass Effect 4 from the previous game, the Reaper War has brutally and almost completely restructured the Milky Way ecosystem. It really should be pretty much anyone's game to claim the mantle of Big Chungus for the next millennia. That makes me, for one, really excited to see what will happen in the next game, and dare BioWare, please, just make a good Mass Effect game.
What do you want?
What I've always wanted. They were scared of what we'd find, terrified of what we might let in.
You're playing with things you don't understand.